One genre I've really been digging into in recent years is Metroidvania games. Is that an actual genre or did fans make that up? Anyway, the name Metroidvania, for those who don't know, comes from the mashing of the names of two games, Metroid and Castlevania. But not like NES Castlevania. Like Simon's Quest? Yeah, not those. Particularly in later Castlevania games, starting with Symphony of the Night on PS1. I've actually only just played Symphony of the Night for the first time a couple years ago, and that game is just a masterpiece. It's so good!
What is a man?
And is it heresy I've never played a Metroid game? Is that bad? I mean, it's not entirely true. I did play, the one of the Prime ones. The one that came out on the Wii. You know, that one. Well, as treasured and beloved as these games and this genre are, it's no wonder the heavily retro-inspired indie game scene is so ripe with them. But boy howdy, 2018 has been a killer year for these things. So today I'm just gonna show a little taste, just a little rundown of some fun, or at least potentially fun, Metroidvania games that have released or will be releasing this year. Possibly. I'm actually not sure about a couple of these. If you've been to a GameStop and used the PS4 kiosk over the past few years, you've likely played or at least seen the demo for Chasm. Is it Chasm or Chasm? I'm gonna go with Chasm. In development for years with various demos at different cons, the game was never given a release date. That is, until just a few weeks prior to its surprise release date of July 31st, 2018. But was this Metroidvania worth the wait? Or should it have remained a GameStop demo? Well, that's kind of what I'm here to talk about, so friggin' be patient, jeez. The game puts you in the role of a young squire whose name escapes me now. Is he Chasm? I'm gonna call him Chasm. So Chasm here is sent off to investigate an incident at the nearby mining town, and wouldn't you know it, everyone is missing. All except for this old guy who's just asleep. Asleep at the helm while everyone is gone. Great job, Abraham. That's not his name, I just thought I'd call him Abraham. As some miners were mining for, I'm assuming, coal and stuff, they end up digging too far into unknown territory and dug up some kind of hell pit or something. Classic mining mishap. You're given a key to the mine to find the missing villagers and eliminate the monsters that emerged, and it's here that the game takes off. The mine itself is procedurally generated on each playthrough, adding some nice replay value to the game. Now you may be equipped with nothing but a sword to start out, but that's fine because early enemies are just kinda dangly worms and some trolls that don't really attack you, they just kinda walk back and forth. Kinda easy really. But don't worry, the game makes up for that. Yes, the game does become quite challenging, a worthy fit for a Metroidvania game indeed. And it's really neat to see the direct inspiration from Symphony of the Night, from the menus to the PS1 style save slots, even down to being sent to the main menu upon death, which is something I am quite familiar with Symphony of the Night. I died a lot in that game, and in this game. It's really good though, so far. Check it out. Death's Gambit is a special game. Just look at this character creation screen. Now I know what you're thinking, that looks just like Animal Crossing. Well, you may be surprised to know that the game is actually inspired by Dark Souls. Much like in Dark Souls, you can choose from different starting classes which will each affect your beginning stats and weapon, and you even get to choose a special item to start the game with. Much like the games that Death's Gambit is inspired by, this game is beautiful. From the dreary art style to the detailed, well-animated character models to these armored giraffe things, they're pretty cool. You could climb on their butts to get to the treasures on the trees. Tree treasures. It's really a game that wears its inspiration on its sleeve, but it manages to do so in a way that pays a nice homage to the Souls series. That being said, it's definitely a hard game. It's manageable, sure, but then so is Dark Souls, and boy, the controls really do not help. It's so awkward. R1 heals, L2 blocks, R2 uses your secondary weapon, which so far as long as I've played the game has just been a bow, and then L1, as far as I can tell, is just a dedicated climb the ladder button. Seriously, you have to hold L1 to climb ladders. Why is that a thing? Just do ladders like every other 2D game with ladders has done them. Up or down, it's not hard. The controls are annoying at first, yes, but you do eventually get used to them, which is nice because it means you don't accidentally heal yourself as much, especially considering that when you die, you lose a healing item. The game's equivalent of Estus flasks is called a Phoenix Plume. You get a stack of 3 to start with, and they're refilled each time you rest. But if you die, Death himself shows up and takes it away, except he doesn't, cause it's right there where you left it. If there's one major thing in this game I don't enjoy, it's the stamina bar. It makes sense in Dark Souls because there isn't really platforming and the focus is on rolling around and avoiding your enemies, where in this, I don't know, it just feels weird, man. I don't know if Death's Gambit is considered to be a Metroidvania, but I mean, it is tagged as such on Steam, and Year of the 2D Action Platformer isn't as appealing of a YouTube video title, is it? Ah, yes. Dead Cells. I've spoken at great length about this game last year in an episode of Games You Should Play. I loved the game back then, and that was back when it was in early access. The game has now officially launched and is even available on PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, where I actually ended up rebuying the game. And no regrets on that double dip either, because Dead Cells feels right at home on a handheld. If you've seen my top 10 picks for limited run Switch games, you remember that this game was pretty high on the list. And now it's mine. Not from limited run, but you get the idea. Take the procedurally generated roguelike platforming action of Rogue Legacy, put it in a darker but still humorous setting, crank up the difficulty and the action, and you've got Dead Cells. If you've heard of this game but have been on the fence, I really don't know what you're waiting for. It is difficult, and when you die you have to kinda pretty much start all over, which can get frustrating if you're impatient, but go in understanding that that is basically just part of the experience. The procedural generation of the levels helps keep things fresh, and once you unlock certain permanent upgrades, you can actually open up branching paths that leads you to new levels. It's pretty cool, I just found that out myself, and it's really fun. If you're down for, you know, all the things I just talked about, then just buy Dead Cells. Next up we have Hollow Knight, a game that I keep hearing about pretty frequently. I've wanted to grab it for a while, but I just haven't. Now I know what you're thinking, that game did not come out in 2018. Well, it did on the Switch, so that's kind of the thing. By the time I knew about Hollow Knight, I already knew I wanted to wait for a Switch version. Now it is on the Switch, and I mean, I was gonna hold out for a physical version, but it went on sale for like 10 bucks as I was working on this video, so I grabbed it. And boy, do I have no regrets. Maybe a couple regrets from the anger, because this game is pretty hard. You play as a small, cute, adorable little insect knight armed with a sword called the Nail. You dive deeper and deeper into the Hollow Nest, earning new abilities as you explore and take on difficult bosses. In the short time I've spent with the game so far, I can already see why it has earned so much praise. From the fun and challenging Metroidvania gameplay to the art and sound design of the game, the fluid animation, the gibberish voices coming from NPCs and enemies all meld together to form a beautiful game that manages to be dark, depressing, and dreary, and yet adorable at the same time. I'm really glad I picked this up, and I have already been spending hours on this game in just a couple of days since I purchased it, and I look forward to all the hours I'm going to be putting into it as I work to complete it, as well as the free DLC. I really think you should try Hollow Knight for yourself. Up next we have two Castlevania, Bloodstained Circle of the Moon and Ritual of the Night. These two are actually a result of a Kickstarter campaign from Iga himself, Koji Igarashi, the man responsible for Symphony of the Night, as well as a slew of other Castlevania games that follow Symphony of the Night's style. Jump forward to now. Igarashi is no longer a part of Konami and has gone on to craft a successor with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which, by the way, as I was writing this script, was just announced to be delayed until 2019. Which means I really don't need to talk about it in this video, which is fine because I'm mad at this game right now because they cancelled the Vita version! So screw you, Igarashi. Really though, best of luck in all your endeavors, and I truly hope Ritual of the Night is a huge success. Lastly are two games I only heard about when doing research for this video, and I think more people need to keep them on their radar. Those games are Forsaken Castle from Duck Block Games and Time Spinner from Lunar Ray Games. Both are successful Kickstarter projects as well. As of right now, neither of these two games have a concrete release date, but judging by recent updates on each of their Steam pages and Kickstarter pages and so on, I can only hope and assume that they'll be out in 2018. At first glance, each game looks similar not only to each other, but also to Chasm, which I talked about earlier in this video. And you know what? That's alright. Forsaken Castle follows a young paladin girl who is sent to a nearby castle to investigate the sudden appearance of the undead. according to the game's Steam description. I actually played the demo for this one. It's available on Steam now if you want to download that and check it out. I highly recommend giving it a go if you're interested. It's got sort of a cutesy style, but still kinda has the hardcore Castlevania style. It's really nice, go check out the demo, seriously. Time Spinner follows a girl who can manipulate time and does so to travel back to destroy an empire who killed her family. Now that sounds pretty spicy to me. Each of these games looks really good and it has me excited to check each of them out even further. When these games come out, they'll both be available on PC, PS4, and a couple others, including the PlayStation Vita. So suck it, Bloodstained. Portly out. Hey you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Did I miss any exciting Metroidvania games of 2018? I'm pretty sure I did. Feel free to let me know here because I'd love to check them out. While you're here, feel free to hit the like button, share this video, and consider subscribing. Bye now.